Hey guys, today's inspection has me feeling quite a bit anxious. It's the first time I'm going to be getting back into pink and white hives since I left them to raise new queens about 2.5 weeks ago. I'm feeling pretty nervous about what I'm going to find. Did they actually succeed, and are those new queens laying? This time of year makes requeening especially tough since colonies are starting to kick out their drones. That means fewer drones in the congregation areas and lower chances for successful mating flights. If these hives aren't queen right, I've got some difficult decisions ahead and I may have to rely on my backup plan. Let's get into these hives and see what's happening. Hands in the earth, we're making it right. Planting hope by morning light. Every seed a promise sown. Together we'll make the world our own. Okay, so we are starting. There you go, fat drone. Side note, even though I did just say that this is the time of year that hives are going to be kicking out their drones, I have heard that when a hive is requeening, even though that queen will not mate with her sons, the hive tends to not kick out their drones while they're trying to mate a queen. Now, this hive has been, for the past few weeks, has been my only queen right hive, but I do see a drone. I don't know, maybe my area is not kicking out drones just yet. Okay, so anyway, getting sidetracked already. We are going to get into this hive first. I like to start with what I expect to be the simplest inspection first. Sometimes that's because I think it's going to be the smallest population. In this case, I feel like it's going to be, well, if this one is still queen right, then I shouldn't have anything to worry about this one. I'm also approaching the time. Some may say that the time has already passed, but the time that I would need to start manipulating frames and condensing my hives, I'm trying not to do that just yet. Because of all of the times that I've split from my original package that I started with, it's just been a lot of them drawing out frames and not fully getting to build up like they would have if I had just stuck with the initial package. They've drawn this out some, but not entirely. I want to get in here and see if we still appear to be queen right, and then move on. Also, I have throughout this season, I have done the majority of my inspections gloveless and just with a veil, sometimes even in shorts. Last week and this week, I've worn my gloves just for some extra protection because a few weeks ago I did get stung on my wrist a couple times. It wasn't during my inspections, it was while I was manipulating the frames when I found that 2 of my hives were requeening. So I just want to be extra cautious. All right, so we've got a lot of nectar around this brood nest. This is the first frame with brood. Oh, can I get that small hive beetle? No, it's already gone. Oh, no, there it is. Lots of nectar. That's good to see. They're drying this out nicely. Not a ton of brood. The side's about the same. You can see. I see eggs in between those. I can't tell. Let's move this Baraxian strip so we can see what they're doing. I think that'll work. We can always move it later. Last week, I only got into this hive since the other 2 were raising new queens, and the top box looked really good, but they really weren't doing much in the bottom, which I didn't love to see. So I am interested in getting into the bottom deep today, just to see if they are doing more down there. All right, we have pretty good brood pattern. I do see some bald brood, which I've been doing more research on. These I can see the purple eyes, but the bald brood can still emerge and live, but what I found says that it tends to not live as long. Lots of nectar, pretty good brood pattern. Also, last week was a week and a half ago. I waited. I normally do my inspections on the weekend, or I have been the past few weeks. Been doing them on Sundays just because that's worked out nicely with my schedule. But I didn't get into this one this past Sunday because, well, one, I wasn't feeling great. And two, I was looking at my calendar where I was calculating when the new queens should have emerged and should have been mated and should be laying. And today, Wednesday, oh, this is a light frame. Today should be a day that could be a possibility. So I thought, well, I'll just wait and get into all of them on Wednesday, which is what I'm doing. What was my purpose in saying that? Oh, a week and a half ago when I got in here, there were multiple frames with a lot of eggs. So I expect to see, oh, I see some tiny larvae. Oh, and I see eggs. That's great. Okay. So this hive should still be queen right. And now I've got to decide, do I want to get into the bottom deep and see what they're doing down there? Or do I want to call it good to make it faster? It is robbing season. What I was saying was there were some frames with a lot of eggs. So I'm curious to see how those frames look. And I don't remember which ones they were for sure. They were more towards the left of my left. All right, so we've got eggs and young larvae on that frame. So that's great. Oh, these bees are really finding their way up from the feeder board and up this side and in there. That's why it's good to lean, whether it's a feeder board or whatever you have, top inner cover. If you lean it, then they're able to just climb back up into the hive, and that's good. I have seen so much activity from all three of these hives, which doesn't necessarily indicate a healthy hive, but it's encouraging to see this time of year because it means they have stuff to go forage on. More larvae, some younger larvae, not super young. I'm happy with this brood pattern. And okay, so let's see. I'm trying to see these empty. I don't know if you can see or not. These empty frames in between the capped frames, they either have, some of them have some small larvae. I'm sorry, I can't show you close up because I've got my gloves on, so I can't get my other phone out to record because my fingers won't work with gloves. But they're either, I'm sticking with the propolis. Like right here, I see some larvae, so that's going to be capped soonish. But then these others have nectar in them. So even though it kind of looks like not a super solid brood pattern, I don't feel like that's a bad thing because they obviously need the resources near the brood for the nurse bees to take care of them. So I feel like that's a good solid pattern. And another thing, this line, if you can see this line that's uncapped, it's where one of the wires runs through it, and it looks like they've just put nectar in there rather than larvae. There is some larvae around it, but not a bunch. Again, Queen Beatrice. Love Queen Beatrice. This is my original package queen in here. She's grown that apiary from a package of bees mid-April to now 3 hives. Can't see the side as much, but I see what looks to be a decent brood pattern. It's hard to see with all the bees on there, but it's looking pretty solid to me, which is great. Yeah, these bees have been really great for me. I mean, I have been stung a few times this year, but honestly, they've been great. You know, they're just kind of one-offs, you know. I haven't been stung during any inspections. It's all been when I was all up in their business doing some frame manipulating. I don't know if I like doing it this way or not. It feels a little more risky. Maybe it's good. I don't know. Maybe that works. Okay, this has some pollen on it and a bunch of pudgy pollen legs. Pretty solid brood pattern. And I can't tell about, I don't think there are eggs on this frame from what I can see, but that's okay. It's a pretty full frame of capped brood. Sticky. I feel like this frame probably wouldn't have our queen on it because there's really nowhere for her to lay on this frame, in my mind. I've been seeing a lot of pale yellow pollen coming in, and I believe that is from, in my area, ragweed and jewelweed. So I know we also have goldenrod, but I was kind of initially thinking, oh, it's season of goldenrod, they're probably bringing in a lot of goldenrod. Well, honestly, they've been bringing in what I believe is a lot from jewelweed and ragweed. Allergy sufferers are sad and upset this time of year, but beekeepers rejoice. Can we get this in here? I don't know. Yep, there we go. Okay, bees aren't up here too much, so I can get my thumbs in there a little better. Okay. More young larvae, and I don't know if you can kind of see that space, the gap between the bees. That is where the Viroxan strip was, and they just haven't fully drawn that out because the strip was there, so it's good to move. And we have Queen Beatrice. Let me see her. Long live the Queen. Love her. Love her so much. Okay, I have a decision to make, and I'm not good with decisions. Do I stop and move on? This is a nice brood pattern too. I'm happy with that. I gotta say, I really want to see what's going on in the bottom deep, but also it's robbing season, and I have 2 other hives I need to get into. We found our queen and lots of eggs and larvae, good brood pattern. I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna check these last 2 frames, just to see what, I mean, we're already in here and they're right here. Why not? And let's see what they look like. And then I think I'm gonna just quickly pull the top box just to take a peek at a couple frames from the bottom box, see if they're doing anything, because I do feel like, oh shoot, that is something that I need to know so I can kind of have an idea of what I'm going to be doing in the coming weeks. All right, these look like here in the middle, they're drone cells, and looks like they're filling them with nectar. Oh, and pollen. But those above them that have the pollen, they are worker cells, but they're using them for pollen. We do have some capped brood here, more pollen. All right, I'm going to take a peek at this and drawing it out nicely. Not fully drawn, but they are working on it. So that's great. Okay, we're going to put this back in, get the other one back in here. Just trying to keep the edge of the side bars up against the other ones. And then it kind of pushes the bees off instead of smashing them together. Makes sense. We're going to put this one in here. I'm going to go ahead and put this back on here. That's what I'm going to do. That'll keep it covered and more protected from robbers. And then we can just sit it back on here and we're done. Ooh-wee. Oh my goodness. That is definitely heavier than it was last week. Holy cow. Ooh-wee. All right, just a quick peek in this. See what we're doing. I'm just trying to look down in here. Curious about this. Take this one out. Well, yeah, I can see that one's not touched. There's still, well, they're packing this with pollen. A lot of pollen. So that's good. But the queen has not been down here. Not in that one anyway. There's a good chance. Well, I don't know. We'll see. There's so many factors to consider. I'm trying to decide what you're going to do with your bees. Yeah, they're not even touching this. Well, I mean a little bit, but not really. A little bit there. Yeah. And then that one I want to take a peek at. That one I can see they're starting to draw it out, but we'll have to see if we have 2 new laying queens. It might be that I turn my 3 hives into 2 and just take the best 20 frames for each so they can overwinter in double deeps as strong hives. Now this is drawn out, but again, nothing. Oh, dang it. Oh. Small hive beetle. Okay. Yeah, there's nothing in here. This is drawn out and it has been used, but it's not being used. I feel like I need to move these over so they are, let's see, we'll put this one right here because there are bees coming into contact with that frame because they're packing it with pollen. No eggs, no nothing. All right. Yeah, we might have to consolidate these at some point. We're gonna see what we have going on in our other hives. I'm gonna put this, where'd it go? Put that back in, but up here because I feel like we're gonna get more use out of it up here. All right, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. I guess we're going to start next with White Hive because White Hive had a capped queen cell. So, assumably, White Hive is ahead of Pink Hive, but we'll see. I'll meet you in White Hive. So something I didn't mention when I was in Green Hive, I had been feeding my hives and they just seemed to stop taking the feed. I did leave this one in here because I don't remember why, I just did, but they're not taking it. So I haven't been replenishing it because why replenish it if they aren't really taking it? And I feel like they're probably not taking it because we've had a end of summer, early fall nectar flow. I guess it's end of summer because it's still technically summer for a few more days. So leave in the comments, don't cheat and wait till the end. Right now, do you think that White Hive has successfully requeened? We're about to find out. And like I said, I think I mentioned this earlier, maybe I was thinking it, but if we don't find a new queen in here or Pink Hive 2, that doesn't mean that they didn't successfully raise a new queen, and it doesn't mean that she isn't out there maybe on a mating flight or something. So it doesn't necessarily mean that I have to make a decision today on what I'm going to do. However, it's not summer or spring, it is about to be fall, and that means that they are on a time crunch as far as getting queen right. I need a queen in there laying eggs, raising bees of winter physiology. So that said, while I don't necessarily, today is I think it was the earliest day that my new potential queens could be in here and laying. But, with it being so late in the year, it's just really risky to just let time go and let them figure it out. I do have a backup queen over in a resource hive. I did have two, but my resource hives started being robbed and one of them absconded. So I only have one backup queen. They have kept honey. That's great. Yeah, so I have one backup queen. She's the queen from Pink Hive, and I've moved her because I didn't want to be reliant on a new queen, and I didn't want the original queen that was in there to potentially get killed and then the other one not be good or not successfully mate. Honestly, I'm not sure at what point they kill the original queen, but I guess the original queen could have killed the new queen if she wanted to. Anyway, some of the cells were in the swarm position, so that was also a big deciding factor to move them because I didn't want to lose half of my colony to swarming and my mated queen. So I don't regret my decision. I actually just saw a David Burns video, where he had a similar situation, and he actually said that what he would do was, instead of moving the mated queen, he would leave the mated queen in there and then graft the queen cells to raise new queens, and then they would be the backup. However, since I'm a new beekeeper and I haven't done that, that's just not something that I really felt comfortable doing. So I didn't. I did what I felt comfortable with doing as a backup plan, and I don't think that that was necessarily the wrong decision. So I need to pay attention because I'm looking for a new queen, and if she shouldn't be newly emerged. We should have around, without looking at my calendar, I think she should be around like a week and a half old, I think. So she wouldn't be newly emerged, like skinny and unfed. She may or may not be mated. I will say though, they're not acting queenless, so there's that. Oh, big old fat drone. Oh, but also, like, I'm looking for a queen that is potentially not super fat. Okay, more nectar. With these first few frames being quite full with nectar, there's really not space for a queen to be laying, so that's not yet a problem as far as not finding a queen. I'm gonna carefully move this one. We'll put it here. I see eggs. I might cry, guys. Okay. Okay, eggs, and they are back of the cell. I would say 2 days old. Kind of shaking, guys. I guess it's an adrenaline rush pumping through, because that should mean that we have a new queen in here. Again, can't show you these eggs because I can't use my touch screen with my gloves on. Kind of clustered up there. I think their heads are just tucked in the cells. Wondering if maybe the queen was there. All right, let's see. Okay, so that's a good step in the right direction. I cannot really see, but I think I'm looking at a bunch of nectar. I need to speed it up, but move slowly because we don't want to kill the queen that we seem to have in here. Okay. Oh goodness, oh my gosh, that's something. So this new queen is a granddaughter of my original package queen, Queen Beatrice, who is in green hive. What are we doing? This bee's just hovering at the poker like she's investigating. Not really even aggressively or anything, just saying hello. Oh, this one's heavy. We have a new queen. I'm gonna cry. I see her, guys. Where'd she go? Might have gone to the other side. There she is. How'd she get to the top already? Yay! Oh my gosh. Oh my god. I'm so excited. She's pretty big for being young. Yay. Okay, now we gotta see how she's laying. We've found eggs. Let's see, there's capped brood. How is that? No, that could still be in here from 2.5 weeks. Oh, I think this, I don't know if you can see or not. Can you see? Yeah, right there. That could have been the cell that she came out of. Let's make sure she's still on here because a couple bees dropped off. So proud of you, girls. So proud. Welcome, girly. Okay, this one she's on this frame, but this frame has a lot of nectar and kept brood, so there's really nowhere for her to lay. I do want to kind of get an idea of her laying pattern. I mean, we saw eggs, so that's good, but I would like to see how she's doing on her laying. Oh, all right, we have lots of nectar. I feel like we're going to have to get into the bottom deep because this is not very telling. Just because we have a new queen and we found some eggs, that doesn't mean she's laying well. They are drawing this out, but push these. Yeah, I don't think it's going to make a huge difference since they are. Oh, well, that one is more drawn out. Hold on. Well, not on that side, it's not. It is on this side. Yeah, but not much to speak of. Okay, maybe I shouldn't worry about moving that. At this point, getting them to draw out frames that they hardly even touched are, I mean, that's just not really gonna happen at this point. I feel like at this point, I definitely need to consider possibly consolidating to 2 halves going into winter. All right, let's put this, we'll put it right here. I do need to get into that bottom deep because I need to see what we're working with. Maybe we have more drawn out frames in the bottom than I thought, but we'll see. Okay. I could tell that my smoker needed some tending to, so I tended to it. All right. Okay, we've got a nice little group of bees down here. That's good to see, but we need to see eggs. Oh. Got a small beetle. Yay! All right, let's see. We are going to start over here. All right, don't see eggs in there. No eggs in there. They are starting to draw this out. That's great to see, but it's not quite deep enough to be used. Also, something that I've been kind of contemplating as a possibility. So I have 10 frame boxes, but there are 8 frame boxes. So I'm kind of thinking if I have each hive has 2 10-frame boxes. That would be 20 frames total. But if they were 8 frame boxes, then that would be 16, which would be 4 less than what would be in a 10-frame box or hive. So my thought with all of that is, okay, there's more nectar here. It's good to have resources, girls, but we got to have some eggs. My thought is, what if I removed my 4 worst, I don't want to say worst, my 4 least desirable frames. Push these over here so I can I'll try that. If I remove my 4 least desirable frames and then I fill those spaces with insulation, making it essentially 8 frame boxes, the capacity of, but then I would also have Like if I took a frame out here and a frame out here, and then the same on the top box, and then put insulation in their spaces, I mean, they're probably not going to go crazy with the space as far as drawing out wonky comb. I'm not worried about that, but I am worried about the extra space that they would have to keep warm. So that would be an extra barrier of insulation against the cold, and it would make the volume that they would have to heat less. There's a little bee emerging. I see, ooh, do I see? Oh, I thought I saw larvae. I don't think I do. But I see pollen and nectar on here and some capped brood. Capped brood is obviously from the last queen. I don't see eggs, but I'm just wondering, like, I feel like that could work. So if I can come up with 12, right? No, 16 good frames for each rather than 20, and maybe I don't have to do it for all of them, but maybe I do, so I could maybe take some from one hive to the other and equalize it more. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud, thinking about maybe some options. So that's something that I'm considering. I feel like it would be better than trying to overwinter single deeps. There are beekeepers who do that. In fact, I found a YouTuber who is not very far from me who actually intentionally beekeeps in single deeps and therefore overwinters in single deeps. So it can be done, but I feel like it's more challenging, especially since I'm a new beekeeper, you know, and trying to make sure that they're set up for success. I'm seeing lots of resources, but no signs of our new queen. We know she's in there. I did see eggs, so it could be that she literally just started laying, but we might have to equalize these. I don't know. There's room here for her to lay. Oh, well, there's another queen cell that somebody emerged from, so maybe the other one was, I don't know. Maybe we might had to have had two queens in here at some point, and somebody won, somebody didn't. Yeah, I'm not seeing eggs in here. Lots of resources though. Okay, that's something to keep in mind. I'm gonna have to be manipulating these frames a bit when it's time to go into winter. Okay, I don't think that this other one is gonna have anything. I feel like maybe I should have just stopped. It is good for me to know about these resource frames down here. These are a lot of resources, and then frames that have yet to be drawn. That's good to know the situation down here. I'm gonna take a peek at this one because they have started drawing it. Let's see how deep these cells are. Okay, they're doing good on these. Might be a nice space for her to lay. Oh, you know what? I wasn't thinking. We still had capped brood in here from the other queen. So as those emerge, she's going to have those cells to lay in. So that's good. I feel like what has happened is, oh wait, why am I putting this one? I thought this one, shoot, I had it in my head that this one that we were going to put back in here was not drawn, but it is. So we're going to move these and put it here. Shoot, I don't know what I was saying, but since she's going to have those cells to lay in as they emerge, you know, she'll have space to lay. Oh, I think what I was saying was that I feel like what happened is we literally got in here like right after she started laying, I think. So she just hasn't had time to lay a bunch of eggs. Go. All right, and we'll just right here. I think that's good. All right, we're gonna get this back together. I will see you in Pink Hive. Okay, here we are in Pink Hive, and I had completely forgotten that this hive is still missing 2 frames here and here from when I moved the queens over to the resource hive. I didn't have extra frames, so I just took some from here, and I felt pretty comfortable that they weren't going to go super crazy with wonky comb. So yeah, they haven't, and we'll just get those back in here eventually. Makes it easy to start because I already have space to work. Look at this. They're drawing it out, but it's not deep enough for anything to go in yet. I'm going to just try to put this kind of halfway over and then keep them together and then push them back. All right, so leave in the comments. Don't cheat. Do you think Pink Hive successfully raised a new queen? Well, we have a queen cell there that has someone emerged from. All right, this frame is nicely drawn, and let's see, some nectar, and ooh, these, I don't remember these queen cells. They kind of both look like they've had someone emerge. They look used. Okay, I hope we're not too early on this one. It might be too early for this one, but we will see. The queen that I do have as a backup is the queen that was originally in here, which is the daughter of Queen Beatrice. So any queens that we find in here, queens, whatever, would actually be also granddaughters, like the one in White Hive, granddaughters of Queen Beatrice. Okay, they're starting to draw this out, but only starting. Same on this side. It is possible for this population to maybe be smaller, although I don't think it is. But I mean, they have been queenless on a brood break. Oh, this one's heavy and it's slipping. There we go. Oh my gosh, they can't are just that heavy. Oh, it's heavy. Oh, it is heavy. We have some cap nectar, aka honey, although it may be from the sugar syrup that I've been feeding them. But since I've been feeding them 1-to-1, 1 part sugar, 1 part water, that would be more difficult for them to store and fan to evaporate the water content. So it's more likely that they've used it to raise brood. You can, man, these are getting sticky. We have to clean these. You can feed them 2-to-1 sugar syrup. Oh my gosh, I keep getting sidetracked, but this hive has been notorious for propolising a lot, and they are doing that with these peroxide strips. Oh my goodness, there's some beeswax on it. Duck, they've put some beeswax. Can you see that on there? Okay. Again, oh, forgot what I was saying. Lost my train of thought. My train of thought is like a bunch of trains with crisscrossing tracks, and all the trains are just barely missing each other. That's what my train of thought is like. Anyway, I was talking about 2-to-1. You can feed them 2-to-1 instead of 1-to-1. Holy cow, this is heavy because it has a lower moisture content, and then they can use that to store it and fan it down more easily to overwinter with. They've got a lot of honey here. I'm going to be honest. I'm kind of tempted to taste it, but I've got my gloves on and I have a task at hand, and I am very well disciplined, so I'm going to refrain from that. There's another, I don't know if you can see or not. Oh, I'm sorry for the smoke. I'm gonna have to do that. There's another queen cell there that someone emerged from. So what's that for in this hive? I think I feel like we should have at least one successfully mated queen in here. I don't know. Do they go on the mating flights and then kill the other queens? No, I think it's when they emerge. There's another one. Good grief, girls. Okay, we covered all bases. And another one. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I think what they do is the first one that emerges goes around as best she can and tries to find all of the other queen cells and then rips them up. Can you see all this honey? This side over here too. There's some emerging brood, and I think they're going to fill it with honey. But if they merge at the same time, be careful that's bulging out, then they would walk around and try to find each other and then kill each other. Oh gosh, that's heavy. I'm sorry guys, I'm not used to, like, that frame wasn't even fully, it wasn't fully honey. It was a lot of honey, but that was a heavy frame. But that's great. That's a great frame for them to have to overwinter with. So all that said about the queens, I feel like I might not get this one out. We probably don't. Although we had multiple queen cells that look to have been chewed up. That's not necessarily because all of those queens emerged. It could have been chewed up by the one queen that emerged. But that tells me we have, there's another one that somebody emerged from, or it was chewed up. So whatever queen emerged was, I don't know that I want to call her aggressive, but there's another one. Oh my gosh, is that a record? I mean, it's a record for me, but I wonder what the record is. She is a queen bee on a mission to take her throne. There's another one. Oh my gosh, they had so many queen cells. This hive was hell-bent on raising a new queen. They had a backup for the backup for the backup. All right, more nectar and honey. I don't see any eggs or a queen. Okay, part of me is kind of wondering the way they're acting, are they queenless? I don't know. With all the resources up here, I definitely want to get in the bottom deep to see if I see a new queen or eggs or anything. Goodness, more nectar. All right, a lot of resources up here. I'm not seeing a new queen. I'll take a peek at this last one. It is a little drawn out. Peek at this one. Another girl is trying to sting me. I'm glad I'm wearing my gloves. Can you get yourself out? She didn't. All right, more nectar. All right, we're gonna get these back in here. Maybe here. All right, so I'm gonna get this feeder board on there, and then we're gonna try to get a peek at the bottom deep. All right, let's see. I don't want to take this one out. It looks like it's undrawn, but I don't want to start on this side because they they tend to go in right there. You know what? I'm gonna cover them, try to see if we can keep them a little calmer. Anyway, they go in more like over here. So I'm kind of just thinking, if I take out that first frame, that's probably gonna really upset them more than they kind of already seem to be. All right, these look to be all empty. No. All right, these are drawn, but not, they don't have anything in them. All right, peek inside my head and what I'm thinking. It's possible that the new queen is on a mating flight. We could still come across her in here. She may be mated and in here. We'll find her on the last frame. She could have been killed when she went on her mating flight. The way that this hive is a little more spicy, I mean, it may not be that they're queenless, but they might be spicy because they're queenless. What I'm thinking, I'm considering, since it is late in the year, in the season, do I say, you know what, she's not in here, maybe she's on a mating flight, maybe she's not, maybe she died. Do I go ahead and reinstall my backup queen, who actually was already the queen in here? Small hive beetle. I get her. Yes, yep. I'm also thinking, do I maybe wait until the weekend in a few days and then get back in here and see? They're bringing in lots of pollen here. That's probably goldenrod because it's darker. There's still some capped brood, more nectar. My gut's telling me they're queenless. Lots of pollen on this frame and nectar. They have a lot of resources. No queen. We are likely going to be equalizing hives with these resources. In my mind, it makes sense. I think after this frame, this next frame, I'm going to get this back together because these other two frames, they don't look like they've really been drawn or anything. Let me get this in there. I see pollen, empty cells, lots and lots of pollen, a whole bunch of pollen. No queen, no eggs. I don't think I need to take a peek at that one because they're starting to draw it out, but it's not anything of significance. All right, guys, so I feel in my gut that pink hive is queenless just based on their behavior. That said, it is very possible that their new queen is out on a mating flight. Pink hive was behind white hive. White hive 2.5 weeks ago had a capped queen cell, and pink hive did not have kept queen cells. So it is very possible, especially since I feel like white hive's queen just started laying, since we only found a little bit of eggs. It's very possible that pink hive does have a queen out there on a mating flight and she's fine, but it's also possible that she got killed on her mating flight. The good news is I have a backup queen, which was actually the queen that was in pink hive. It would also be kind of neat if we went with that queen, because then green hive would have my original package queen, pink hive would have a daughter of hers, and then white hive would have a granddaughter of my pack queen. So I would have 3 generations to overwinter with and see how that goes. That could be a fun little experiment. But for today, I'm going to leave them be. Sorry for the pun. And give them a few days, get back in here on the weekend, see if I see a queen in there. And if I don't, I feel like at that point, we're going to go with our backup queen, reinstall her, and go from there. But with that said, that's all I'm doing for today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. I post weekly and give you updates on my inspections. Check out Brittany's Botanical.com, where I sell my handmade items. This beekeeping veil is one of them. And I've also started blogging on there too. I only have a couple up so far, but I like where it's going. So check those out, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye, guys.